That six-pack isn't hiding behind a paywall of 1,000 crunches a day. It's buried under a complex mix of biology, lifestyle, and yes, some seriously stubborn science most fitness gurus don't want you to know about. Today, we're exposing the actual truth about belly fat, and spoiler alert, your genetics are working against you. I'm here to break down the cold, hard facts about what's really causing that belly bulge and what actually works to get rid of it. Because here's the thing, belly fat isn't just an aesthetic issue. That stubborn pooch is potentially dangerous, especially the kind you can't even see. So grab a protein shake, but skip the waist trainer, because we're diving deep into the science of belly fat. No filters, no gimmicks, just facts. Point 1. Genetics and fat distribution. Let's start with something you literally have zero control over, your DNA. Studies from the UK Biobank, examining nearly 360,000 participants, show that where your body stores fat is largely predetermined by genetics. Men typically pack it around the abdomen thanks to testosterone, while women store it in the hips and thighs because of estrogen. Think about it. Ever notice how your dad and his dad have the same beer belly, even though one drinks kombucha? That's genetics saying, welcome to the family legacy. But before you blame your ancestors and give up completely, wait. Just because your genes loaded the fat-storing gun doesn't mean you have to pull the trigger. Genetics determine where fat goes first and where it comes off last. Your body has a fat-burning sequence. Extremities first. Hands, feet, face, then arms and legs, and finally hips and belly. Don't compare yourself to others. Track your progress with measurements, photos, and the scale. Point 2. The spot reduction myth. If you've been doing 300 crunches a day expecting your belly to magically shrink, I've got some news that might make you want to throw your ab roller out the window. Spot reduction is about as real as diet pills that work while you sleep. You cannot, I repeat, cannot burn fat from specific areas by exercising those muscles. That's not how your body works. When researchers from the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research put people through 4 hours of ab training weekly for 6 weeks, they found zero change in belly fat. None. Zilch. Nada. So why is every second fitness influencer still pushing AB workouts for belly fat? Because nobody wants to hear the truth. It's all about creating a calorie deficit, eating real unprocessed foods, getting enough protein, and resistance training for your entire body. Not as sexy as 10 moves to blast belly fat, is it? But hold up, before you swear off crunches forever. Point 3. Visceral vs. subcutaneous fat. Not all belly fat is created equal. There's the jiggly stuff you can pinch, that's subcutaneous fat. Then there's the dangerous stuff wrapped around your organs that you can't even see, visceral fat. Guess which one is linked to heart disease, diabetes, and inflammation? The invisible one. The American Heart Association isn't just trying to scare you. They've found that visceral fat is essentially an active organ pumping out hormones and inflammatory substances called cytokines, like tumor necrosis factor alpha and interleukin-6. These directly affect your liver, stomach, and intestines, basically creating a factory of inflammation inside your body. Here's the plot twist though. Visceral fat responds better to diet and exercise than subcutaneous fat. So even if you can't see immediate changes in the mirror, those healthy habits are dismantling the dangerous fat first. Your heart is thanking you even before your genes start fitting better. Now, speaking of what you can't see, point 4. Vitamin D deficiency. Here's something your Beachbody program definitely didn't mention. Vitamin D deficiency might be sabotaging your waistline. Low vitamin D levels are directly linked to higher levels of belly fat and larger waistlines. The crazy part? Over 40% of Americans are deficient in vitamin D. It's literally being called an ignored epidemic. And there are 3 major ways this vitamin affects your belly fat. First, vitamin D regulates insulin sensitivity and metabolic function. Second, low levels increase inflammation throughout your body. And third, this is huge for the guys, insufficient vitamin D tanks your testosterone. A study of 2,300 men found those with adequate vitamin D had significantly higher testosterone than those who were deficient. Don't guess, get tested. If you're deficient, sunshine, supplements, or vitamin D-rich foods could be the metabolic hack you've been missing. But before you rush to the supplement aisle, point 5, sleep deprivation. If you're skipping sleep to squeeze in those 5 a.m. workouts, you might actually be making your belly fat worse. Research from the Mayo Clinic, published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, found that insufficient sleep led to a 9% increase in overall abdominal fat and an 11% increase in visceral fat. When you're sleep deprived, your body pumps out more cortisol and ghrelin while lowering leptin, basically creating the perfect hormonal storm for overeating and fat storage. Studies show sleep-deprived people consume about 300 extra calories per day. That's our entire extra meal. So what's the magic number? 7 to 9 hours. Not 5, not 6, 7 to 9. Your abs are quite literally made in your bed as much as in the kitchen. And speaking of hormones that hate your abs, point 6, stress and cortisol. Chronic stress is like giving your body a direct command to store fat around your midsection. When cortisol stays elevated, it signals your body to hold on to fat, specifically around your organs. Look at patients with Cushing's syndrome, where cortisol production goes into overdrive. One of the main symptoms? Extreme belly fat, even if the rest of the body stays relatively thin. Or studies on primates showing that chronically stressed monkeys develop significantly more abdominal obesity. The American Institute of Stress even found that middle-aged Swedish men with the highest cortisol levels had the biggest beer bellies. The solution isn't just stress less, because telling someone with anxiety to calm down works so well, right? Instead, it's about finding practical stress management techniques, meditation, nature walks, maintaining a positive mindset, or even just socializing. Your stress relief strategy is actually your secret belly fat weapon. But even if you manage your stress perfectly, point 7, air pollution. Here's something nobody talks about. The air you breathe could be making you fatter. Research shows that exposure to particulate matter, nitrogen oxides, ozone, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons contributes to obesity by causing inflammation, oxidative stress, metabolic imbalances, epigenetic modifications, and intestinal flora impairment. It sounds like science fiction, but studies have confirmed that air pollution exposure is associated with increased BMI and waist circumference. The microscopic particles trigger inflammatory responses that make your metabolic pathways go haywire. What can you do? Use air quality apps to check pollution levels, consider HEPA filters for your home, and increase your antioxidant intake to combat oxidative stress. It's not about paranoia. It's about awareness of an environmental factor that could be silently expanding your waistline. Now for something you actually have immediate control over. Point 8. Posture matters. Want to look like you've lost 5 pounds in 5 seconds? Stand up straight. Poor posture can make even fit people look like they have a belly. When you slouch, your abdominal muscles disengage, your abdominal wall weakens, and everything just hangs out. Try this. Stand in front of a mirror and slouch. Now stand fully upright, pull your shoulders back, and engage your core. See the difference? That's not fat loss, that's proper posture. And the best part? Over time, maintaining good posture actually strengthens your core muscles, helping them keep everything tucked in naturally. Bonus tip. Exercises like planks not only strengthen your core, but train it to stay engaged throughout the day, improving both your posture and your profile view. But let's get real about what actually works for fat loss. Point 9. Calorie deficit reality. No, it's not sexy. I know it's not what sells programs. But the cold, hard truth is this. To lose fat anywhere, including your belly, you need to be in a calorie deficit. That means burning more calories than you consume. Period. No amount of fat-burning foods, special timing protocols, or miracle supplements can override this fundamental law of thermodynamics. But here's where it gets interesting. How you create that deficit matters tremendously. Extreme calorie cutting tanks your metabolism. Instead, aim for a moderate deficit. Focus on real unprocessed foods from the outside aisles of your grocery store. Prioritize protein, which helps preserve muscle while losing fat. And include resistance training at least 3 to 4 times per week to ensure you're losing fat, not muscle. The sustainable approach isn't exciting, but it's the only one that works long term. Speaking of sustainability, point 10. Consistency trumps perfection. The difference between people who transform their bodies and those who don't isn't willpower or fat-burning supplements. It's consistency. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be persistent. One study found that people who maintained a moderate workout schedule for a year lost significantly more belly fat than those who did intense but inconsistent exercise. Why? Because extreme approaches lead to burnout, while moderate changes become habits. Think about it. Would you rather lose 20 pounds in 2 months and gain back 30, or lose 20 pounds over 6 months and keep it off forever? The fitness industry thrives on quick fixes, but your body responds to consistent signals over time. So there you have it, the unfiltered truth about belly fat. It's influenced by genetics, affected by pollution and vitamin deficiencies, worsened by stress and sleep deprivation, and won't disappear with spot reduction. but it will respond to a consistent calorie deficit, whole body strength training, stress management, quality sleep, and maybe some vitamin D. Not as exciting as lose 10 pounds in 10 days, but infinitely more effective and honest. Remember, your worth isn't determined by your waistline, but your health might be affected by what's happening inside your abdomen. Focus on the habits that improve your overall well-being, and the aesthetic results will follow. If you want extra help with eliminating belly fat, check out my another video 6 morning habits that help you lose weight faster.